I've chosen the text Tiger Mothers Leave Lifelong Scarves, and it's an article from CNA, where and the text is about a Chinese who has been raised by two very strict parents. The parents have been inspired by this person named Amy Shu, and her way of raising children is very harsh, and so this Shu writes about his experience and of being raised by two tigers, as he says here. The writer talks about how it was to be raised by two tigers, and in line 50 he talks about his young life, where his parents always kept an eye on him, so they could see if he did well enough in school. And they called him all these harsh stuff, as in line 60, where they says that he was stupid and worthless, and it didn't really help his way of learning in school, because he didn't think it was fun to go to school. A child really needs parent. It needs love from parents, but this person never really got it. So there's nothing that was good enough. As said here, it was never enough. And I think it's a wrong way to raise children. Children needs love for parents, no matter how much they and no matter how much the parents want them to do well in school. And I think children needs parents' understanding of stuff can be difficult and hard. There's something that not everyone is good at. So, and as I said in line 76, where the father apologized about his choice in parenting. I think it's a little late. This writer is in his mid-30s, and he comes now. I think it's a bit late. But I think that he comes now is like, I think he comes and that he apologizes now is because he has seen how his kid is raising his own children, and that is on a good and in a better way. Or a more loving way. But as he says here, the damage has been done, so it's fine that he apologized, but it doesn't really mean that much to him, because it's so long time ago. As we see in line 100, he said that he has become successful, but he's actually only happy on the outside. He's kind of broken inside, and he also ends up by this article by saying that if he could trade every last bit of his success in life to order to be able to relive his childhood without being raised by tigers, he would. so he has had a very harsh childhood. And if we look at this model, I've chosen this model to see how the text is put together and how the text relate the strict rules of parenting in China. And I think the topic is parenting, how to raise children, and the writer is this Lak Shu, who has been raised by tigers, and the language is formal, but also kind of informal because he just writes his own opinions and experience from his childhood. But he uses a very formal language when he writes, and it's in an article, and I think the reader of this article is all parents and children in China and in Western to see how hard it can be to be raised in China. And then if we go back to the title, Tiger Mothers Leave Lifelong Scars, I think the tiger, the title means that all the parents have these lifelong scarves, and the scarf is the things that they have put their children through. They try to leave these scars, but they cannot change the way that they raise their children. It's a kind of a feeling that they have to live with. And I think it's called tiger because a tiger symbolizes strength and will, and is a very powerful animal, as these tiger mothers who raise their children. And if we relate this text to Whose Iris, then I think it's kind of similar, because in Whose Iris, they're also always comparing the Western and the Chinese culture of raising children. In Whose Iris, the main character has a daughter who has a man who's Irish, and she isn't really happy about the way that they're raising their kid. So the main character decides to raise her grandchild on a Chinese way. And she thinks they have raised their kid on a way too Western way. So she tries to raise her grandchild by hitting her whenever she does something wrong. So I think the two texts is very similar because they're both talking about how to raise children on the most right way, or the Chinese way. And in this article, and in Whose Iris, the Chinese way is to punish the children